but most of what they are doing is they are seeking feedback from the customer. And how they do that via ceremonies that they are presenting what they have introduced, small chunks. So if we compare a bit with a waterfall, they don't wait until the end, they have everything perfect. They just do small deliveries. Quality is leading, customer is the king, and time is not so much relevant. So these are key aspects of Agile. And as Agile has evolved these 20 years, having various of methodologies or approaches based on Agile that we will see in the next slides, a new trend came up, and that is hybrid. And hybrid or hybrid is getting the best out of Agile and Waterfall. It is sort of a situation in between, looking for compromise and getting the best aspects of both of them. Gathering the requirements per phase is very welcomed. Splitting the work in work packages following the work breakdown structure is also very welcomed, but still iterations within these phases are leading, meaning the team is not waiting at the end of the delivery to seek for feedback or present what they have developed or what they have released. Instead, they are doing it as they go along, copying the Agile approach. This methodology, in that way, prevents introducing chaos, especially in very big and complex projects. So they introduce structure, and at the same time, they are seeking for fast delivery. As I said before, Agile for me and most of the people that have worked along the years with Agile is not a methodology. We say Agile is behavior, and I will explain in this slide what I mean with this one. So if you look this slide, Agile has 4 main pillars. First one are the values deriving from Agile. So Agile is really about people's behavior. Agile is about collaboration. Agile is about individual people getting autonomy to do things that they know best. It responds to change, so it embraces change as a situation to become better or to deliver a better project. And it really is based on respecting people's diversity, people's expertise, and people's different opinions, because in that way it takes multiple perspectives for the same product or service. And in that way, the product or service to be delivered is more complete, or it is considered to be more complete. It has also 12 principles, and these principles, you can see them listed down. I will pick up some of them to explain. Is about transparency, so we are giving to our key stakeholders very frequent what we are doing. Is about trust between the team, but trust also from top management and senior management that what we are doing is exactly what we are requested for according to the customer value. And it is also eliminating waste. This is very important. What we have seen previously in projects is that some of the times the teams were delivering features or functionalities that they were very interesting for them as developers or product managers, but they were less interesting for their end customer. So Agile has introduced this aspect by eliminating waste and having customer to pick up the product owner role and lead all the features that are relevant to him or her, who is the one who is going to use the product at the end of the delivery. There are many practices to approach it. As I said, mainly it is customer-oriented, user-oriented, but also some of the organization choose to make it value-oriented in a sense of they are not using it per customer to define the value that is going to be delivered. They're centralizing value as they have gained it from marketing experience, and then they're doing their iterations towards it. There are, as we speak, more than 100 frameworks working on Agile. You see some of them here named, the extreme programming. This is purely for developing software, where qualitative software is key, and the qualitative life of the team is also key, giving them a lot of freedom to do what they want. Scrum, in Europe at least, at this point of stage, Scrum has dominated, and Scrum is a methodology where small teams work together. They have various roles, like the Scrum Master, who is the one who is making sure that there is some structure in the team. They have the developers, the testers, and the product owner, who mainly comes from the business and is leading with the features. Scrum is also delivers every 2-4 weeks. They call it sprints, so they plan their work in sprints of 2 or 4 weeks, and they deliver. And they introduces also ceremonies like retrospectives, where the team comes together to check what we have done good, what we can do better, what we should quit off because it hasn't helped us. And they also, very interesting, they introduce demos, and in these demos they present to their audience, to key stakeholders and to customers what they have done. In demos they also collect feedback, so they, in the next sprint, they can adjust the product or the service according to this feedback, and this is a very important feature. And last but not least, at least from what you see here, because as I said, there are hundreds of frameworks, I'm very happy to give you bibliography on this if you're interested, is SAFe. SAFe is scaled agile, so now we are talking really about very big organizations. Think of bank industry, think of traveling agencies, so really huge organizations where people are working on in parallel on multiple products or services. And with scaled agile, they introduce the so-called release trains, where specific teams are focusing on a specific domain area. The beauty of agile at scale, the SAFe, is that all these release trains, they meet on a quarterly planned ceremony. They call it a quarterly plan review, where they present each other what they have done this quarter and what they are going to do the next one. In that sense, they all remain connected, and they also outline the dependencies they have each other. So this is a bit about these 4 frameworks, and as I said, there are quite more. If we zoom in Agile, taking the soft skills, we can say Agile is a mindset. And I would like here to focus mainly what Agile means about the project manager, and especially what is the role that the project manager is taking within Agile as a leader, not anymore called a project manager. We have seen in multiple names that are being assigned within Agile frameworks and Agile organizations. For the project manager is the team coach, is the Agile leader, is the Agile even project manager. So I would really like to focus in this slide on what is the role of the people that are working with Agile, in a sense, what they need to have, how they need to evolve, how they need to change from skills they had previously. So Agile is focusing on soft skills. Agile is focusing on expanding the communication skills of people, the collaboration skills of people, and not so much the technical skills of people. That has been proven quite challenging, because we all know that it is easier to expand your technical skills. You are following a course and you are doing it, you are reading a book or more, and you are also achieving it. But working on your soft skills, it's more looking on a mirror and saying to yourself, you are not good in communicating, you can do better in respecting the opinion of the other. And this is not so easy to do. It needs really working with yourself. Agile as a mindset supports developing T-shaped people. And what we mean with T-shaped people in Agile, these are people who within a team can play various roles. So is a person that can understand what requirements mean for a product, but at the same time can also play a critical role on testing. So Agile as a mindset welcomes and promotes developing T-shaped people. So not people that only can play the team coach role or the project management role, but people that can do more work in parallel. And that means all people are evolving from functions. So in the previous world, we used to have a business analyst, for example, as a function, to multidisciplinary teams and roles, meaning that the business analyst is playing a different role within Agile organization, and team, meaning the business analyst can should be able to pick up also architectural aspects or pick up also testing aspects from the product that is in develop. It is about a continuous learning culture cultivation. So people that want to be considered agile-minded really need to seek continuous development of themselves. This is very key in this thing. As we said, change is seen here as an opportunity to become better. As I said, we talk about people evolving from project managers to team coaches. So the multidisciplinary teams, they are more autonomous. They don't really have a need for somebody telling them what to do. They know best. They have they need somebody to inspire them. They need somebody to keep them together. They need somebody to remove obstacles for them. And this is the role that the project manager is taking within such a context. Last but not least, constructive feedback versus evaluation moments. We will touch upon this HR aspect, because this is indeed an HR, human resources aspect within organization. We all know that we are having our evaluation moments within our organizations on a quarterly or yearly basis, where most of the times the manager is giving feedback to the project manager how she has performed. Here we are talking about constructive feedback coming from the team. So the team is the one who will evaluate each other. And of course, in order to do this one, there is one predominant skill that all people need to develop. And this is trust to each other and respect each other. Okay, most of the times I'm presenting on this agile topic, I get the question, but is agile for all industries? Is agile for everybody? Is agile the best methodology or the best way to go forward? And what I'm saying, since agile, it's not a methodology, agile is a mindset, I say it is not a matter of suitability. It is mainly a matter of adaptability. My perspective, all organizations, no matter which industry they are in, they can use agile aspects. It is mainly how far they are ready to go. And this is what I call a maturity scan. It is vital when an organization is at the tipping point to start an agile or digital transformation, as we call it, to do a maturity scan. A maturity scan has two levels or two aspects, if we want to say it. It's the top-down one. So it really concerns the executive people that they are acting as sponsors in the previous world, in the waterfall world. Now they are taking the role of the executive agile leadership team. And these people, they really need to lead the change. So these people, they really need to start overwhelming, if I'm allowed to say, the organization with information why we need to change, why we need to go more agile in our thinking and perspective. So they really need to be a leading coalition team, how we call it also in the scaled agile framework. These people, honestly, and obviously, in order to do that, they need to lead by example. So they really need to change themselves first in order to ask from the other people to change. In Agile, as I said, we are talking about putting the work within the teams, making the teams responsible to take decisions themselves. Of course, if this mindset does not come from top and above, this cannot happen. And this is exactly what this leading by example means. And last but not least is recognizing failure as opportunity to learn. As I said, top-down really approach really needs to recognize that mistakes is an opportunity to go further. So as a first level of maturity scan, what organizations do, they are checking these three aspects. How ready are the people representing the senior management to go like this? Then if we go to the second aspect, the bottom-up aspect, so the teams themselves, the people that are doing the work, they have some other, let's say, challenges they need to pick up in this maturity scan. Maximizing efficiency, so doing more with less in terms of resources, in terms of budget, in terms even of time. So we are talking about small teams. Actually, our United States friends, they say an agile team should not be considered bigger than a team that can eat a pizza together. So Depends, of course, on the size of the pizza, but definitely we are not talking for more than 8 people per agile team in order indeed to maximize this efficiency. It picks up the aspect of continuous improvement in people, products, and processes. Prioritization, calls in execution. This is a very important aspect, touches upon a lean portfolio also, is doing really what it matters, doing really what the customer asks for, eliminating waste, eliminating cosmetic, let's say. Flexibility and willingness to adapt to the unknown. Most of the companies, the question they are asking in order to see how mature the organization is to go in that way is, are you going to change, or you were always doing it like this and this is how you want to stay? You will recognize probably there are quite some people within organizations, they have as motto, we were always doing it like this. It shows a bit that people are not very willing to change because it's not easy to go to unknown and to adapt the unknown. And last but not least, as part of this maturity scan is the level of ambiguity in shaping a product for the end customer. So when we are talking about embracing agile readiness, most of the times we are talking about product or services that are, when we start the project, are not easily to define. For example, if we have a very fixed scope project, we know exactly what we need to deliver. It is a pretty straightforward, a small one. We don't really need to go agile with great chances. We can always, of course, take aspects from agile, but it's not a project that is number one of going agile. But as we go to projects who have greater ambiguity in what we need to deliver, then the agile aspect becomes predominant. So this agile readiness, we always connect with maturity scan within the organization. In this slide, I'm borrowing this beautiful picture from my Dutch fellow, Henry Potman. Henry is very well known in the Dutch community, but also in Europe, on being a guru in methodologies. He has written various books on this aspect, and he has created already some years ago this beautiful picture when people started wondering themselves, should I go traditional waterfall or should I go more agile? And what he really wanted to show is all the areas that those two aspects come together, from the very technical ones, like how I capture requirements in one world and in the other world, to what kind of soft skills, what kind of behavior do I need to show? And what really happens here in this nice slide, it is you see people touching upon the same subject from a different perspective. So I really wanted to let you see this one. And that was a bit my introductory slide to the hybrid approach, because indeed the last years there's a trend to have evolved from agile to the hybrid approach. And if we want to give a definition on this one, we could say that hybrid approach is the method that combines aspects from both of the agile and waterfall methodologies. Key points, and where hybrid is very relevant, is with big and complex projects. They can really benefit from the hybrid approach. Big and complex projects, most of the times, they need to balance between keeping the senior customer and the senior stakeholders always informed, and at the same time, taking maximum out of the teams that they are really delivering. So what hybrid approach is giving here is maintaining structure and control at the same time with fast delivery. So most of the times in hybrid approach, we have a project manager. So we are following a bit the organizational chart of a waterfall approach. We have a project manager that is reporting in a bit the classical way towards key stakeholders about time, about budget, about scope being delivered, but at the same time gives the flexibility to the teams to show them what they have done in short increments. So this is here the aspect that is a great benefit for such projects when they follow the hybrid approach. The aspect that I would like also here to focus on is maximizing customer value by keeping the client actively involved. And I think this is the greatest win from this approach that has borrowed from Agile. So, as I've told you, I have worked with Agile since 2012. So that was 10 years ago where I started having projects as senior project manager by that time in more Agile ways. And the last couple of years, like 5 years now, I'm working with hybrid methodologies. And honestly speaking, by that time, we were not calling them hybrid. We were calling them short blended approach, and per organization it was different. But we were all realizing, especially people that had worked with waterfall and with Agile, that for some projects, it just didn't work. So the meeting those two methodologies, somewhere in between, was really what giving benefits. So in this slide and in the next one, I have picked up the greatest lessons learned from this journey, and I would like to share with you, and maybe these can trigger some thinking for you. But also some questions for after. So as I said multiple times today, there's no one fit for all approach. So each project is unique within a unique organizational context. We talked about maturity of the organizations, we talked about size of the project. So blend the methodologies and make them fit for the project we are working without looking for the best methodology that is described on books. Do not underestimate the power of habit. That is key, and this is a great lessons learned for me, having led some digital transformations the last couple of years, of having been part of such digital transformations. People really tend to go back to what they know best, to go back to behaviors they were using for many, many years. So in order to put them in a new perspective, in a new thinking, and in a new way of working, you really need, first of all, to address the expectations clearly, but along the journey, do not stop reminding them why we are doing them and why it is about this whole journey. Senior management is always appreciating the three principles of time, scope, budget. So no matter what methodologies and books say, I haven't been myself to an organization where top management said, okay, go do your agile thing and let me know what you will deliver. They continuously want to be involved, and they continuously want to show them what you are doing in terms of these three aspects. Start at small scale. So it's not like you go back to your organization, you say, oh, I had some webinars and I read some books about agile and digital transformation. So let's go agile, and you expect that from next day, the whole organization will start adopting these new ways and approaches. The recommendation from all industries and companies, but also my personal recommendation is start small, start from development teams, then evolve to operational teams, and as last, leave the rest of the organization. There are aspects of the organization like legal, like security, like compliance. They're less easy to transform to an agile way of working, and some of the times, honestly speaking, it doesn't really need. And here is where the hybrid approach comes to win, and that's why I'm saying my personal perspective is that the hybrid approach is here to stay and will gain more and more floor within this project management community. Pure agile organizations, to my perspective and to my experience, do not exist, only in small scale software development. And good agile has a lot of documentation. I think there is an anecdote within agile community saying we will find whoever said that agile does not have documentation. Agile has a lot of documentation, but the key thing is that documentation is being picked up in a different manner. We are not talking about creating 100 pages of documents at the beginning of the iteration. We are merely talking about creating mapping mind maps. We are talking about creating backlogs in tools that give this opportunity in order to make an easy prioritization. So good agile, a lot of documentation. Doing agile is very different from being agile, especially at the beginning of the journey. A lot of companies, they are focusing on introducing the agile ceremonies, so having a demo, having a retrospective, so really doing what agile says to do within the books, but they are not transforming themselves to think agile. And if you are only doing it on ceremonies with the people that have another way of thinking, then you are not really taking the maximum value from what you can achieve if you do the other way around. HR aspect is crucial. I think I mentioned earlier that within organizations, HR needs to embrace the feedback situation. So it's not about the manager evaluating the team members, it's about team members evaluating each other. So this is a key. The DevOps concept. DevOps is the development operations concept. This has also gained a lot of popularity within organizations. It's bringing people who develop together with people who operate the solution together in the same team. Traditional organizations, they have most of the times these two domains very detached. So bring them together. People that are using the same product will see it from different perspectives, and this will give great results. This is also what I have seen in such organizations that have managed to bring this DevOps concept. Flexibility and culture to accept mistakes and learn from them. This is also key.
So 13 minus 5 or 11 minus 3, which is 8. The other activities in the bottom half of the network has 7 days as total flow, whereas
yeah, thank you. So it's about learning from mistakes. Is obviously allowed to do mistakes, but avoid doing mistakes of the past. That is why we are saying yes, encourage doing mistakes, but learn from the old ones. Quarterly reviews, inspect and adapt. Don't just say I introduced hybrid methodology or agile methodology beginning of the year and I'm going through the whole year with it. Every quarter, give a moment, gather all people working on it to evaluate together how did it go, what we do good, and we need to continue what we don't do, and we need to get rid of it. And last but not
sometimes they will also give
portfolio.
or B.
So
they may say for C, B is the predecessor with a lag.
So the portfolio aspect is key. We are talking about continuous prioritization of initiatives. We are talking about alignment with the key business stakeholders. And we are also talking about the ability to say no. So it's not that we, the project managers or the project management community needs to say always yes to what is being requested. It is yes with an evaluation aspect. I think that was it for today. So I would like now to open the floor to questions, concerns, reflections on what I have presented you.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a couple of questions. You have rightly said that Agile is more a mindset. I think it's more a cultural value or culture in an organization which you develop in project management. Because what you say, it gives emphasis on software skills, communication skills, collaborative skills, and maybe I'll say networking skills, which is also software skill. But I think for any project management, these are essential skills which were required 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back. So my point is, suppose you take a implementation of a nuclear plant, nuclear power plant, or you take a installation of a large power plant, whether coal-based or gas-based. Now, if I see these aspects, they were always there for being successful project implementation. Now, currently, since you are working on agile and hybrid front for last 10 years, are there large projects in very large organizations like GE or Siemens or ABB or Aramco, where hybrid or agile technology is fully implemented for a project?
Yes, Onkar, thank you for this reflection and for your question. It is indeed, I mean, if somebody who has quite some years experience with with project management recognizes that the key aspects are not new, of course. We always had in our old project management methodologies of the past, this aspect. So it's more reinforcing them. And that's why, and I think Agile has, and hybrid has gained space along the way. So I fully recognize your reflection. The second part about the very big organization having embraced, to the best of my knowledge, that is true. So there are quite some big organizations, for example, Shell here in the Netherlands has also embraced this change. And that is why I'm saying it doesn't mean that when we are saying we are going agile and hybrid, that the whole organization will go like this. As I mentioned, there are aspects of the organization, like the public affairs aspect or the security aspect, the compliance aspect, the auditing aspect, which is also one very important for these organizations, that cannot really go agile or full agile because there's no point there. So these aspects are good recognizable within this hybrid model, and the project manager is the one who will take the lead there, and there it comes, the leadership skill that this guy or lady needs to have, and say, okay, I'm constructing my project in that way that these aspects I will not touch, I will monitor, I will take them as they work because this best fits their domain, and I will embrace them to the end result of my project and deliverable.
Thank you, Ms. Effie. Actually, I agree with you. It's very easy to implement, I think, this concept of agile in the projects which are not brick and mortar projects. I think when you are dealing with the projects which are brick and mortar projects, maybe you have to think of some area hybrid, some area agile. But definitely it's not possible in the whole project you can bring agile.
True, exactly. No, I'm very happy that I hear this recognition from other people, knowledgeable people in this area as well. Okay, anybody else a question?
Yeah, good evening, good evening, madam. I am Sampath calling from Chennai.
Hello.
Madam, it's like this. This hybrid, we are doing construction type of project, establishment of bigger power projects and all. Since you have explained everything about this waterfall projects, no issue. Thing is whether we can implement these agile methods in between the projects, or we have to make agile from the day one onwards, or new projects which implementation wise, which is better. One project, suppose if one project is in half a way, 50-60% completed, can I try your suggestions, please?
Okay, because at some point your connection has broken, I will repeat your question and try to answer it. So if I understood correctly, your question is, if I am in the middle of a project, like 56% completion, is it the right moment to introduce agile, or I let my project finish?
Exactly. Yes, you're
What's
right.
the question?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. You are well understood the question.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. This is a very interesting question, and actually a very valid question for every project manager. In that case, I would propose you don't go back and change the whole structure of your project, because I think you will bring more harm than benefit. What you can do in that case, you can just go and do a check together with your project team, which areas are painful at this point and which areas suffer from being successful. And based identifying these areas, you can then see which aspects from agile or hybrid you can bring there in order to make them proceed, in order to unblock them. So this is the approach I would propose for a project being in the mid of implementation.
Oh, great, madam. Very fine. We'll be trying that way. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Akhilesh Srivastava. I'm calling from Delhi. My question is, see, the concept is absolutely fantastic. It's agile. I mean, a lot of flexibility in the working, and but how do you tweak this post-COVID when the things are itself are getting more flexible working hours? It's a hybrid mode of things. So, what I mean, do you expect, or what changes some modulation has to take place to this agile approach further, considering the new, very relaxed or a flexible way of working? That I believe itself is going to be agile. So, how these two are going to get dovetailed? That's the question one. Second will be how we are going to adjust it. what will be what Mr. Onkar actually asked the question. If it is a time-bound project or a project which is having a lot of infrastructure, there its applicability, how fruitful it has been, had it been tried, and the result which we have some study done whether this model was better or the waterfall was better.
Perfect. Thank you, Achilles. Two very good questions. So let me start from the first one about how does it fit with new ways of working? Do people need to work flexible differently? My experience, at least from Europe, I don't know how it works in India, is that this COVID situation of the last 2 years has given also to us some lessons learned. So most of the organizations here, they have said you have a box, a time box, starting starting early in the morning up to evening around 7 o'clock, that you can do your job and you pick up yourself the moment you do your job. I think agile or hybrid approach really can fit to this flexibility that the organizations have given to people, because the only thing you need is to choose the collaborative moments. So as we said, agile has ceremonies, so everybody needs to attend the morning stand-up, which is no more than half an hour. So there's a fixed moment every day, let's say 9:30, that everybody for half an hour should be there to present what he is going to do today and which people from the team he needs. And the rest of the day can just go short offline together with the relevant people. So I think agile really here can come and fit. So participate to the specific ceremonies, identify the key people for you on a daily basis, and go back and do your work. And second question, it was about how agile hybrid fits in very big scale projects. Was it about?
Yeah, exactly. A big scale project or infrastructure project, and any case study which has been done in past proving it is better over the previous.
Yeah, perfect. So, and in this kind of projects, and especially the infrastructure industry you mentioned, that is a very interesting one. You cannot say to somebody, I will build the house or the governmental building for you, but we are going to do agile, don't worry, and after 6 months I will let you know what you are going to get. Actually, this is the waterfall approach, but they don't know because this is when at the end of the delivery they see only what they get. Of course, purely agile is also not the best way to do, because purely agile says, I will decide best with the team what are the requirements for you. So this is not also the way to go. And here is where hybrid comes. So hybrid is mainly the most suitable for these projects, where it takes from waterfall the structure, the requirements from the people management, and from agile showing in small iterations what I'm doing. So showing the building to get feedback, and at an early stage change the design or change the delivery, instead of at the end telling them this is the building you are getting, and you have then the surprises. So the hybrid approach is the one I would propose for such projects in such heavy industries.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I see quite some hands. Ayai, if I pronounce the name correctly.
Ajay, this is Ajay Gupta. Hello.
Ajay, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. I just wanted to share one observation with respect to the previous discussions going on.
Yes, please.
Yes, at NTPC, we are executing a significant complex number of projects, complex number of power projects. So, as the traditional saying goes, the waterfall method is more suitable for our principal stakeholders. Just one more point I wanted to bring here. that for a complex project, there are a number of significant stakeholders who govern the direction and completion of project. So there may be one major stakeholder as well as there are minor stakeholders also. So those minor stakeholders may also at times disrupt the project progress. And major stakeholder, of course, he is always related to the project delivery. So for the major stakeholders, the project might focus on waterfall approach. However, those minor stakeholders, we may have to go for agile methodology for maintaining their expectations and for managing their expectation from this project delivery. So in that way, a combination of both waterfall as well as agile might be necessary for delivering complex projects successfully. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this reflection. I indeed confirm what you have said. And indeed, I think it's key. When Agile was first introduced or started gaining popularity, organizations thought that they need to make a choice. So it was like people split into, let's say, groups. People love waterfall, people love agile, and they were like fighting who is going to become more dominant. As years evolve and projects evolve and the industry has shown experiences, I think those two groups have come closer together because both of them, and especially people from these groups that they had the flexible mindset to be open and embrace the change, they have seen that they can use aspects from these both. And this is why we are talking about hybrid. So indeed, as I said, high management always appreciate being well-informed, monitoring the time, the budget, the scope. At the same time, there are people, the experts doing the work, they want to be appreciated and recognized about the work they are doing. So I think what I would propose, certainly in this project, start with a stakeholders map analysis, so you know exactly which stakeholders having great influence and which methodology or approach they prefer, and giving them a presentation on handshaking these two methodologies, choosing the best from the waterfall you think apply to this project, choosing the best from agile that you think apply to this project, and make a nice clear presentation which aspects you are going to work with, how you are going to combine them, and how they will help you lead to success. So make very clear commitments, but also expectations, manage expectations of these people. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm again Omkar Gupta again. My question is not to you, Effie. My question is to my friend from NTPC. Have they introduced the technology agile methodology as well as hybrid methodology in the organization that is in NTPC for implementation of larger projects? With these terminologies, has NTPC introduced that in any large projects in comprehensive manner so far?
Good afternoon, Mr. Omkar. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Ajay, thank you.
Yes, thank you for your question. Basically, NTPC, as you are well aware, NTPC has executed more than 60,000, 70,000 megawatt of power projects, and the key project management philosophy, or I would say the theme, has been our integrated project management control system, that is called IPMCS, which we have been following since our evolution in 1975. So I would say it's a combination of waterfall as well as agile as well as a hybrid methodology. Of course, it is more bent on waterfall approach because the project progress in certain stages, like first we complete the engineering, then the civil works, then material execution, material manufacturing, then its inspection, then supply, then erection at site, and finally the project commissioning. However, within this cycle, if there are certain changes required to execute project more efficiently, then definitely they are incorporated. Within the project also, we have certain leeway to incorporate improved design from the manufacturer or from the vendor itself. So there is some element of agile as well as hybrid also. So I hope I have answered your question well.
Ajay, only one observation. Let me tell you, I have been the project manager for first 500 megawatt project of NTPC in Singrauli. Okay.
Sir, it's great honor
and
to.
I developed the network for that project from BHAL.
Yes.
See, as I mentioned in the beginning, all these concepts are always there in conventional project management methodology also. My question to you was that are you using these terminologies of hybrid, agile in your concept, in your day-to-day discussions while implementing the projects? See, the elements are always there, inbuilt there, even they are not defined by these words.
Yes, sir. We are using definitely. That's why we are discussing this today. And many of I see in the participant list, I see many participants from NTPC as well. So I assure you that these things are being discussed and being considered. Means right now I am speaking from a project site of NTPC and still joined to this program as I was interested in.
I love to interact with you separately. I'll be happy really if NTPC using the terminology like waterfall, agile, hybrid in their project management implemented.
It's better if we take it offline, given the time, because we are already due. So I don't want to keep you guys more.
Thank you.
Let's take more question.
Yeah, good evening. I need one more question from my side. See, one of the really assessment is saying that in India, especially 60% of the projects are is failing and it is going beyond the time limits. Though we have all these kind of waterfall and as well as agile and hybrid method is there in the effect. Still projects 60% is not successful and most of the failures are happening in the projects. See, it is the here most of the project managers and project directors are available here, and this is one of the common platform. What I can think really to collaboratively have a another kind of effort we can see how we can make the project successful in India. Because yes, of course, I'm a little bit talking a part of India. I mean India across the all projects. Most of the projects going beyond the controls. Yes, we have the control of on cost and schedule, scope, and all these things. We have well control on that, but still going beyond the limits. Yeah, we are doing risk assessment. We are doing all these things. Whatever the project process are there in the PMI, and of course whatever the IPMA is saying that how to control the people and how to manage the people and how to demonstrate with them and everything we are following.
No, I think it's very clear what you are pointing out here. And of course, it's a concern always that no matter the methodologies, we see quite a big percentage of projects failing. And what is the reason and how we can bring them back? And obviously, the methodology itself is not going to solve this problem for you because every methodology is a methodology. I think it's on the people. And a key aspect I am always saying on that one is, do we consider that we are delivering a minimum viable product? And this is something that Agile also introduces. We are talking about making agreements with the end customer on a minimum viable product at first phase. We agree upon this product and the features, and as soon as we deliver, we consider this project done, closed. Of course, we can always pick up a second phase, a third phase, where we enhance the functionalities, and this is why we are talking about continuous improvement and continuous development. But then we are not talking about a project, because we all know a project has a start and an end. And this is a mistake I have seen in the past happening in quite some organizations and quite some projects. They start with some requirements, they agree upon them, and as long as they proceed with the project, there are multiple stakeholders, they're putting extra requirements. So in essence, at the beginning, they agree we will build a house, and at the end, or we will build, we want to have a car, and at the end of after 2 years, they have they see that they have requested a Ferrari, and a Ferrari was not the way to have been, because you don't need to drive a Ferrari if you only want to go from your house to your work. So this is the concept of minimum viable product. Define the absolute minimum features that will make your customer happy, follow them. When you achieve them, close the project, and then start a second one or a third one.
I have a comment. I'm
Yes,
James here.
Justin, and I think after you we can close this session. Vishal. Yes.
I have two reactions. One on what Mr. Chitu said. He said 60% of the projects in India are failing. If that had been the case, we would have been bankrupt long time back, India. So the what probably is that a large percentage of projects are getting delayed. Okay, either cost overrun or time overrun. They're not failing. So they do get completed.
Yeah, I mean that. I mean that.
Yeah,
Sorry to.
okay. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's a disastrous message. It can't be that. Okay, number
No,
one. Number
case
two.
is case. Sorry, sir, 1 minute. I'm sorry disturbing you. Case is because we all mean there's a lot of PDs available and there's a masters in the
No,
project
your
managers.
point is well taken. I understand all these methodologies, and Madam if he has correctly mentioned, these methodologies are methodologies. It's up to us. The project is not well conceived. They will fail or they will get delayed. That's a different story altogether. Now coming to the core issue, and I must apologize to FE that I missed the initial part of your presentation. But this waterfall versus what is this thing?
Agile.
Agile methodology, this argument goes on. But we had heard agile more and more in the software industry initially, because software industry is characteristic
Right.
in the sense it has smaller targets, near-term targets,
Exactly.
value
Yes.
also relatively small, smaller teams, deliveries. Again, the
Right.
next project starts. It's an evolution of projects. So I think that's where
Right.
the agile methodology started. But as she correctly mentioned, even in the waterfall method, elements of agility are already there. For example, I had been dealing with larger projects in an oil industry environment, and we have meetings like toolbox talks, toolbox meetings, stand-up meetings, etc., meant for near-term targets in the operational aspects or in the aspects to address smaller aspects, which are small elements, but the overall big picture is always in a waterfall method. So I think they will coexist. Only thing, we are giving a form and structure in a way, but it was also highlighted that nobody really brands a large investment of 5 billion or 10 billion into entire thing is done by agile methodology or water methodology. It's always a convolution of both. That's my take. So, but at the same time, the ideas and concepts are valid. And she correctly said it's a mindset. You need to be constantly looking at the nearer term targets as well. If you look at the big picture all the time, you might hit a roadblock or a ditch in the road. So might as well look at the long term, but also look at the road. That's my take.
I also see one more point here. Of course, I mean most of the farmers also available here. If I am right, if that is the case, then why can't we compare with say for example in UK, if the projects are more more controlling or completing in time in the case. So then why can't we compare and we can follow also if it is really
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, Mr. Chittur, I think you should participate in our National Project Management Awards, okay, or international project. You can see some marvelous projects being done in this country. The highest motorable road project, which was awarded one of the largest, it's a project of one of its nature, and the largest bridge, the largest tunnel, and so many of them, the offshore structures, etc. There are lots of things people don't talk about them so much so. So it's human tendency to talk about failures or delays, but also we need to celebrate successes as well, isn't it? So yes,
Vishal, can you summarize and close the discussion because our guest is waiting?
Sir,
Yeah.
so I think a wonderful presentation, and the head-to comparison between agile, waterfall, and hybrid was very well articulated. The softer aspects of agile were very well received. The growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And the bottom line, as you reiterated again and again, is that the entire organization or the project organization need not necessarily go the agile way. Agile can be in pockets, and the relevant functions can be in agile, and the waterfall methodology can also coexist in a hybrid mode. time, budget, and scope obviously will continue to remain the key parameters. So with that, we thank you for your time and for taking time out on today on a Saturday and giving this wonderful presentation and responding to questions so articulately. Thank you, Effie.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here, and it was a pleasure taking also your questions. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much from all of us as participants for a wonderful talk.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you. Please
Thank
sign
you.
off.
Yes.
Pillai Sahab, thank you very much. It has been very nice discussion.
Thank you, sir.